Hello and welcome to the broadcast. I know this is a Sunday evening, but we are going to be talking about a topic among many other things. But most importantly, Sunday night, we are going to be here every Sunday at 7 p.m. to encourage you and show you how to unpack your gift. You do know that you are not here just for vain. If you are here and you are living and you are breathing, that means your assignment is not finished. That means you were sent here with something to do, and you're not going to leave this earth until you fulfill that very thing. So I want to introduce our panel of guests that we have today, and I'm excited. We have Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Kayla is hold on, let me get this off here. Kayla is our first panelist. And then we have, of course, our international herbalist, holistic and wellness coach, Charmaine Harrison. Hey, Charmaine.
Hi.
And we have also with us Alpine, him and his beautiful wife. Hey, welcome.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Yes. And last but not least, come on, y'all, we got Coach Thomas Taylor.
Taylor, your dream.
Your co-host.
Yes. I just love your energy, Coach Thomas, because you are, even during our conversations, you bring so much life in just your presence. And you cause you help, momentum is not something that you give, but you can gain momentum by just being in the midst of people that are like-minded, and that you can jumpstart. You like a jump starter. You could have somebody who have a flat tire. They come sit around you. They just be like, woo woo.
Hey,
It's
about that energy. It's about that energy.
Wow. It's just, I'm really glad to have you all tonight. How are you guys Sunday going so far?
It's going well. Relaxing and just winding down, getting ready for the week. So definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, the universe has us learning how to deal with crisis. When you are a business owner, things will happen at the last minute. And it's interesting because, a poem once stated that, being a person who can keep their head when all about them are losing theirs. And the universe begins to teach you how to do that. It's almost like when they said, the waters be still. In our minds, it'll be racing. But when situations come, it's like this calm, be still and know. And then we push through that way.
Wow. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about for those that don't really, because we know a lot of people may hear that, but talk to us about the process of being able to get in position and allow it to be able to internalize that. What is that like? How does a person internalize what you just said?
But I think the biggest things is that, for one, there are truths in life. When you believe that there are certain fundamental truths in life, sowing and reaping, that's a truth. It doesn't change based on how you feel. It doesn't change based on how you think. It's a truth. And so what we do is we oftentimes operate out of how we feel instead of the truths of the universe or frequency. So when we start dealing with the truths, it's like a muscle. You have to learn how to exercise it. It doesn't just come. It's not something that you're just inherently. You have to, remember that, hey, when I came through a similar situation, I did this and I made it. When I came through this other situation, I made it. And so that's a testimony. That's a testament. You know what I'm saying? And so at some point, you stop thinking about the situation and remember the testament, the testimony. And so what you start doing is, instead of obsessing over the situation, you start connecting to the testimony. And the testimony is what will cause you to look at the situation differently than you've ever seen it before. Now it's a calm.
Wow. To add to that, if you don't mind, when you look at entrepreneurs, I read recently that the successful entrepreneurs, can you hear me? I need to turn up a little bit. Speak up a little bit louder, Lisa. Okay, so the successful entrepreneurs aren't the ones who just sit back and let things happen. They're the ones that things happen to, and they keep getting up over and over again. Those are the successful ones, because things are going to face all of us. We all are going to face challenges. And so this week, just in the past 2 days, we had a couple of challenges that we had to face, hurdles that we weren't necessarily familiar with, but having that foundation that we can overcome anything. It's just a matter of how you overcome it and put the pieces together. And two heads are better than one. If you got that, you're unpacking even more. But when you have those two heads, those two gifts, this person can work this angle, that person can work this angle, and then you can come together and find a resolution.
Definitely. Definitely. What do you have to say about that, Charmaine? What are your thoughts?
Well, definitely it's all about resiliency, when it comes to entrepreneurship, like they were saying, when you go through things in life, because I know what entrepreneurship is tough, it's hard, because you have to operate from a space of constantly bouncing back from things, that's happening, especially when you don't feel like everything is going the way you expected it to go. Because as an entrepreneur, when you first begin, you kind of have these expectations. So it's basically about resiliency and just kind of just moving forward. If you can remember those things that you have overcame in life, you can operate at a level where you're just like, okay, I can do this. And you can kind of just stay on track, but you have to know who you are as a person. You have to operate at a level. And that's one of the first things. You have to transition your mindset and your lifestyle in order to be able to operate at a certain level, of entrepreneurship. So definitely resiliency has a lot to do with that, getting to know who you are, things like that. So yes, I agree. I definitely agree.
Absolutely. Resilience. You definitely need resilience because, there's not going to be, we're not going to go through this life and be able to experience the things that we want to experience without some sort of opposition. You need opposition sometimes to show you. The Bible says, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is weak. So some things we need to really look. Sometimes opposition causes us to look at ourselves and realize, are you going to fight or are you going to flee? Are you going to stick it out or are you going to run? And sometimes you don't know. You might think you're going to stick it out. And you don't find out if there's resilience there or not until you feel like your feet about to go the opposite direction and betray you. That's when you realize, whoa, to me, I think when I go through different things and I look at stuff, I think to myself, okay, Nadira, what are you going to do about this? Before I would just fold and flap. I ain't going to lie. I used to just fold and flap. I can't do it. I won't do it. I'm done. I'm just being real because I couldn't deal with the emotional. I would just rather just run and duck my head. To me, that was the easiest route. But, you get to a point in life where it starts to affect your self-esteem. It starts to affect you as a person, and you realize, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to fight. I don't want to flee. I want to get through this. Well, sometimes the only way to get through this is sometimes you got to just buckle up and you got to do what you got to do, and you got to allow that resilience to come and cause you to push through it. You know what I'm saying? What about you, Kayla? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's funny enough because I can totally resonate with you about a run and hide, because I was in this situation for a while and I had to make a decision that I no longer want to be in this position. I no longer want to be hiding or not standing for myself, because this is what happened. You are afraid to put yourself out there, and you allow those negative things come to your life. You allow the people overtaking you or misunderstand you and your power. So the point in here is to remind yourself why you came here for. What is your purpose in this life? And have the confidence to step up and show the people who you really are. Because no one will be in charge of your ship if you're not going for that. So I totally resonate with you when you say hiding. I was like, oh my God, I've been there. Oh my, yes. So definitely is the confidence, because challenge will always come. We will always face the challenge in our journey as entrepreneur, but we need to be have it the decision to pass it through, and courage as well. Otherwise, we will be just like a running hide or flip up in the journey.
Absolutely. And I think that's why it's important, which is why, Thomas and I thought about doing this broadcast about unpacking your gift. Because Thomas and I we're in a conversation, and, it was just it just was like, when I was doing a broadcast yesterday and the day before, and I don't know, it's just been stuck with me about the importance of unpacking what's on the inside of you, because if we're supposed to occupy, we can't occupy at something that we have no idea of. Sometimes we're distracted and we're not occupying. Means you're doing things in purpose. You're doing things that are lined up with who you are. When you're just distracted, you're just doing stuff just because it's there at the time in the moment. In some parts of your life in the beginning, you kind of just live haphazardly. But is when you get old, I believe when you have either different things that happen to you, or when you get older, you start to realize that life is short. If we really, it's funny because I heard somebody say this. If we really, which is Paul Posey said this. He said, if we really understood that life was short, we would learn our lessons quicker.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Exactly.
Hey, Nadira, something I heard earlier today was a message from a personality, and he was saying if you do not have a backup plan, if you do not have an escape plan, and that could be in anything, but he was mostly talking about careers. So a lot of people are frustrated in their career, they're frustrated in where they're at, they may not like their job, their manager, but they just keep doing it because they don't see any other way out. But if you don't start to say, okay, maybe I need to update my resume, maybe I need to take additional classes, maybe I need to network better, build my network so that I can have other ways of, getting a different position. If you don't do that, then you're conceding, and that concession is almost as bad as slavery, because you're giving someone else the power. You don't have a plan, you don't have an escape route. So you're basically just saying, I'm going to sit here and take whatever you're giving to me. So people, we have to think differently and start to go, okay, what is my escape plan? How am I going to manage through this? And it might not be overnight. It could take 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but you have to start thinking that way. Otherwise, you're going to be locked in.
And sometimes we look at people who are frustrated, and I said this to somebody. When we're looking at people that are frustrated all the time, you have to sit back and wonder, why are they so frustrated? Sometimes people are frustrated on their jobs because they haven't yet discovered who they are. They are looking at the seed that's on the inside of them, and they're just looking at it. Oh, this is just the apple seed. They're not seeing that apple, that's actually a forest in that apple seed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're not seeing that, and it's like sometimes you just have to govern yourself and exercise self-control and really just sit and reflect and say, okay, what am I doing that's keeping me in the same place that I was 6 months ago, a year ago? What do I need to do to unpack this gift on the inside of me? That is the issue. People don't know how to set themselves in discovery mode. We only know how to do that on our phone.
Right.
We don't know how to do that on a computer. We don't know how to set ourselves in discovery zone. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to help people that are watching to get into a mode of discovery zone. Figure out the things that we are designed to do. And it's already on the inside of us.
Right.
Amen.
Right. And it's just like the scripture. When the scripture that you quoted, when it states that if you faint during times of adversity, your faith is weak. It wasn't just a mere admonishment, but it was the idea of calling to action to strengthen your faith. It wasn't concede. It wasn't, I'm giving you that to tell you what you are. You know what I'm saying? You may be that at that moment.
Right.
The admonishment is supposed to provoke you to strengthen your faith. It is never designed to make you stay there and accept that you have weak faith.
That's good.
Amen. Amen. And I want to jump in. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, kind of what I gathered is kind of what Nadira and I talked about earlier when we talked about unpacking your gifts is two things. That's what I heard you guys say. Is your why. Well, why are you doing what it is that you're doing, right? Is it a part of your gifts or is it part of your talent? And then number two is your mindset. Because if we don't have a mindset shift, all of those adversities that we're talking about, it's going to knock us out of the game. We're going to tap out because our minds have not adapted to our surroundings. Well, first you have to go there in your mind's eye first, you guys. And especially as entrepreneurs, you almost have to have some vision to kind of foresee the unforeseeable, right? But if you have vision, because your why will be strong enough, now when that adversity hits, our why will pull us through. And that's where most people, they just tap out because they're doing it possibly for the wrong reasons. And if money is a motivating factor, you already lost.
Mm.
You already lost because it's not going to sustain you, because it
Wow.
has to be deeper than that.
That's good.
Yeah.
And with that unpacking, there's some things that I want to go into, but we want to hear Charmaine and Kayla thoughts about that. What are your thoughts about what we're talking in terms of unpacking your gift? And welcome, Mr. B, and welcome, John.
Hi. I know for
Hello,
me,
hey,
like
how's
unpacking
everybody?
your gift, definitely, like you said, it's a mindset shift. A lot of people just struggle with that. A lot of people don't even know where to begin, especially, individuals that have very chaotic lifestyles. I was one of those individuals many years ago, so when you're trying to operate in your gift, but you don't really understand, and I know one of the things that I do when I take clients is we go through that mindset shift before we even do anything else. And we go through your habits, because that's where it starts, your daily habits.
Mm.
That mindset, knowing who you are, knowing why you do the things you do. I often say you have to wander through the wilderness to heal by nature. You have to.
Ooh, wait a
You
minute.
have
Hold
to.
on. I like that. I like that. You gotta wander through the wilderness to heal by. You better get it, girl. I like that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Amen.
I'm sorry.
you're fine.
Just
It's
joke
so true.
on the
You
inside of
have
me
to
like,
wander through the wilderness. And those are the things no one wants to do that. They don't want to, I made a post about it today. People don't want to go through the process of, wondering the anxiety, depression, the anger, the things like that. Nobody wants to sit there and have that self-reflection moment and that self-accountability moment,
Amen.
and it gets lonely. I talked about that before, how it gets lonely. Being alone is actually really loud when you're laying down at night and you're by yourself, things like that. And you establish those habits, that are not conducive to your growth over time. So you have to know who you are. You have to go through those things that you don't want to go through and speak about the things you don't want to speak to, and kind of dissect just so you can get to know who you are. I think that's definitely the first step of unpacking your gift, for sure.
And I want to piggyback off of that point. And Charmaine, that's the reason why Nadira and I started this. For what you just said, that loneliness, right? Because as an entrepreneur, sometimes it is lonely because people around you, they can't understand what you're going through to get somewhere. So that's why we talked about creating this, what you see right here, to start to be there to support one another in different areas and be vulnerable enough to speak it. And it's okay, right? Why? Because what we're creating is we're creating something that can help all of us, because each and every one of us have different skills. There's people all over the world that's going to be listening to us right now. They're going to want to chime in. Why? Because of that loneliness in a crowded room.
Yeah, exactly. And people don't want to separate themselves from the all things toxic. A lot of people don't even realize that the community they're around, the people they're around, the environment they're around, jobs, family, all that, they don't understand how to separate themselves from that. And you cannot move forward in your life without dissecting through those things, because they're afraid of the lonely. They're afraid, nobody's going to understand. People are going to laugh at me. If I start to do these things, what's going to happen? It's a change. It's a shift that has to happen. So that's definitely.
Yeah.
And that dissecting doesn't necessarily mean that you remove yourself. So certain situations you want to remove yourself from, other situations you can't. The ability to dissect is to understand and hear in self that how you're going to move in this particular space, regardless of who's in that space.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? And
Amen.
so that's that self-awareness. That's that point where is, you know what I'm saying, everybody can have a certain There's an aura. You ever go in the room and it says like somebody, there's something different about you.
Yeah.
Why? Because they understand and feel all the other energies that are being emitted, but something is about yours that's different about that guy. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger. That's different about that girl. You know what I'm saying? It's something about how she speaks or how she her posture or how she moves, and she's just different than they are. And sometimes we take that different as being weird, or we try to spin it with unique. You know what I'm saying? But we don't ever want to talk about how powerful it is. That's power. That difference is power.
Yeah.
And if people
Amen.
learn how to plug into it, they'll be different as well.
Amen. Come on, somebody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely, mindset is the key component and the why as well. Because sometimes we are driving force for the wrong reason. For example, money. Because if money is your why, probably you are taking the wrong direction. So, what is your daily routine? What is the discipline you are setting yourself through? Because if you don't work in your mind, how can you get where you want to be? It's the same like getting in the car without no destination. Where are you taking yourself to? So where are you gonna start? Is in your daily routine, is in the morning routine. What are you doing to your day in start of your day? What are you doing to your life? Are you just waking up in in the bed and jumping in front of your computer, hustling, working? Because this is what happened with me in the beginning of my coaching. I was just hustling, believing that this is the way I should be operating. But when I realized is in the morning routine, is in the daily task that I was doing for my mindset, this is where it shifts.
Amen.
Because when our coach Sean Ray said, money is in the movement. So we need to start moving instead of like having the money as a goal. What is your why? Look
Amen.
for your why. This is what gonna be driving you for. This is what you're gonna unpack your gift, like the program is, because this is your vision. You're gonna be just focused on that point, and nothing else will distract you. Of course, there will be people like trying to take you like from away from your focus, but because your why is strong enough and your mindset is worked out, no one will be distracting you. There is
Amen.
no distraction allowed in here.
Right,
So
right, right.
That's good
definitely.
stuff.
Kayla, that's an excellent point. I was rereading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that is about making money. But one of the concepts that stuck with me is the rich dad told the kids, everybody's come to me because they want to make more money. But you kids came to me at this early age and wanted to know how to make money. So you want me to teach you how to be businessmen, how to be entrepreneurs, how to be accountants, how to run and manage your own business. And sometimes, when we're just caught up in that hustle, as I've been myself, you do the day to day and you're like, let me just make a buck here. Instead of looking strategically and using the mind and going, is this really the best way for me to make the most money? Is it the most effective way? And who else can I reach out to expand and figure out other ways of going beyond just this tactical perspective that I have?
Amen.
Absolutely. I think the most important thing to realize that you can't, when you operate outside of your morals, values, and principles, then what happens is you just say yes to anything. You just agree to everything. You have no boundaries in which you govern your life. So everything that you do is based on what I don't never want to be. There are moments when I was just a solopreneur where I was in hustle mode because when you got things you got to do, you just hustle. You just you like them people on the street. You opening up your jacket and you're like, hey, I got a chain for $5. I can give you for you just going out there to. But what happens when I transferred my mind from being a solo or hustler to a business person or having a business, my mindset had to shift because now I have to realize that I can't just be walking up to people telling them, hey, I got a program, I got a coaching program, 295, that's 195, come on, go once, go twice, go once. Now it's like, now I've shifted to positioning myself, just like the example that I gave yesterday in the broadcast that I did. When you think about a Rolls Royce is, you don't see hardly any advertisements about Rolls Royces, because they have a clientele that is already aware of their value. And so all they have to do is be positioned in the window, and the right clientele will be attracted to them. You ever notice you go to certain places and they don't even give you access to see certain things until they ask for your driver's license and your bank account or your income, because they don't even want to give you access, because they want to know that you're a serious buyer. And so I think in order for us to be able to understand how serious it is for us to unpack our gifts, is we have to take evaluation and say, okay, let me look at myself. Let me see, what's going on in my mind. Let me see what's going on in my home, in my thoughts. Let me figure out if I got stinking thinking. Because if I'm in a mindset of I'm grinding, well, you know what? When you think about grinding, it's something that's going down. I ain't trying to go down. I'm not trying to be burnt out. I ain't grinding, I'm growing. And guess
Amen.
as I'm growing,
I like that.
as I'm growing, that's right. I'm not grinding, I'm growing, right? But that's where you want to be. You want to unpack gifts, because, and Thomas and I was talking about that. When you think about a gift, right? A physical gift, right? There's some gifts you can unlock yourself. You can take the bow off and untie the gift yourself, right? There are some gifts that require certain tools. You ever go to Walmart, or you go somewhere where there's electronics in a packet, and you just can't rip that thing open. You have to have a blade or a scissor. You gotta have a certain tool to unlock that gift. And then you have some gifts that require professional unpacking, right? So that means you need somebody to unpack it and assemble it. And that's how it is with us. We have to look at, there are some things there, not everybody is going to be able to see everything that's on the inside of you. And they're not, and that's okay. There are some people that I'm in the midst of that pull certain things out of me. They have certain tools that give them access to a part of me that brings out of me that I have to step outside of myself and look back and be like, you better go, girl, And then there are some gifts where I'm like, oh my gosh, where somebody can look at me and say, you know what? I see there's a gift. I see there's some potential for growth. Let me show you how to unlock that. That's that. Let me show you how to get from crickets to digits. Let me show you how to do that. And so we have to figure out. And then there's some stuff, based on what I examine about my own life. I can say, oh yeah, I know how to do this. I'm gifted in that area. I know I can do this. I can figure some things out on my own. So you have to determine. And then there's some people who come to rob you of your gift. That means they're taking from you without giving. They're not in the section where it's no longer a gift. Now they're trying to steal, and they're trying to destroy the gift that's on the inside of you. Well, how can somebody destroy? Because through words. We got to be, there's always things and people and stuff contending for your mind, contending for your heart. And the heart, the soul is made up of the mind, will, and emotion. There's always going to be stuff contending for your heart and your mind. And you have to be a good steward over your mind and say, oh no, nope, I can't let that in. Because that's going to send me down a road I ain't going to have. I ain't going to be able to recover from that. Have you guys ever experienced that before?
Yep. And when I see it, I run away from it. When words are powerful. People's energy is powerful. People's words are powerful. We do have the ability to determine how we are going to respond to the, she's talking. Okay. We do have the ability to respond to those words in the way that we see fit. So we do have the ability to say, I'm not listening to that, and walk away. We have the ability to personalize it, to take it personal and believe that that is actually true. But the strength comes in when we say, okay, that person has something going on with them. That's not meant for me. That's coming from them because that's what they are about. And so when I feel that energy, that's a red light for me. That's a sign. And that's something that I walk away from because I don't need you to zap me of that. I'm going to go towards and steer towards someone who's bringing additional light into my space.
And just to digress for a quick second, it's interesting when God gives us gifts, He never monetizes the gift. He gives it to you, right? Now, and so we often take our gifts, and I'm not saying that your gift can't bring you money, but the gift is pure. A singer who has vocals, God gave it to her. He didn't say that you could make a dime when he in the womb when he gave it to you. He didn't say you had to give a dime. Now you can use it for that, right? But the gift
That's
is
good.
yours. You know what I'm saying? And so when you chase after the gift and improving the gift, you will find that the gift will produce a harvest.
Mm-hmm.
And you reap the harvest, and that's what creates the monetariness of it. But the harvest is not just monetary. The harvest is minds, it's souls of other people who you are able to influence on the way. So we need to want to develop the gift. And as we continue to just develop the gift, watch the harvest be reaped.
That is
Amen.
powerful.
Amen.
That is powerful.
That's
Yes.
powerful.
Bird, you have anything to add? John?
Oh, I just
Bird?
as I was listening, as I was listening, a friend of mine told me that once I get out of the hustle mindset into the business mindset of my gift, things will get better for me. And as I was listening earlier, um, a lot of us, I was thinking about the language you use, that we use, grinding, hustle, and things like that. If we use the right language to get us where we're trying to go, and that's what life is all about, is having the right language. We often use words that sound good but mean nothing, and that's why we end up in the wrong place, and we're us trying to get to where we're trying to go in our business world, in the business world. I love the things that have been said here. um, your gift, like I know from the Bible, will make room for you. And if we would use our gifts in the right way and in the right manner, um, it will do great things for you, as I'm beginning to learn.
Yeah.
Amen.
Definitely. I wanted to add to that too, like it was stated, the gift is pure, and that's once you find out, who you are as a person. That's why it's so important to write your story. Write your story so people can, know who you are. You can be heard and you can help other people do the same, because your story is always going to be a part of your business. That's going to distinguish that hustler in you from what you're really doing, because you can see people doing like a million things, right? They're just trying to see what makes that first dollar. Because I was there, when I first left the military, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do real estate because I heard it make money. Oh, I'm gonna do this because I heard it make money. So I'm dipping and going through this and doing that and doing all these different things. Oh, I can cook, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna sell plates, I'm gonna do this. It's like, so that's awesome, because the gift is pure. You can't run from that. And your story is the most powerful thing in the world. And that's what's going to help you provide the clarity to do what you need to do in life, to do, to expand that gift. Because it won't be a hustle. It won't be, let me just reach. You'll actually know, because it's going to feel natural. It's going to feel good. You're going to wake up every day and you're going to be happy to do it. So that's definitely something I learned in my journey.
I wanted to say something about people who might be in my, who may understand what I'm about to say. Oftentimes we have gifts and feel guilty about using them. We feel guilty about making money from them. I've been in that department, or in that arena, where you feel like, I'm not good. My gift is good, but it's not as good as that person's. I've seen their work. Theirs is better than mine. But there's always something unique about your gift that nobody else may have. And we oftentimes, I know I have, talked ourselves out of using our gifts because we think somebody else's is better. Um, we all are unique in what we do. And somebody may have a better better product, I guess, but it's something about yours that I would rather have yours than theirs. And if we would, and again, talking about language, it's what we tell ourselves. And just having somebody in your back pocket that can say or tell you you're better than what you think you are. You are good enough. And because we as a people often tear ourselves down before the public or anybody else can get a chance to. Well, what if? And the biggest thing is what if? What if it don't sell? What if people don't like it? What if I charge too much? What if they don't want it? Well, what if they do?
That's
Mhm.
absolutely
So for
right,
anybody
Bird.
that's feeling that way, I would like to encourage them to get out of their own way. And
Mhm.
that's what we do. We oftentimes get in our own way and believing that ours is not as good as theirs, and ours is just as good as anybody else's.
Right.
And when we do that, Bird, you also downplay, you minimize your worth of your product or your service. You don't charge what you really should be charging. Now, I'm not saying you got to take people to the cleaners, but we have to know our value. We have to know our worth. And my husband gets on me about this all the time. But if you really don't understand, because you're offering a service, and I've seen your work, and when you put a lot of energy into your work, you put a lot of thought into your work, there's a lot of passion. Now, maybe everybody doesn't have that. Maybe they're just about, let me get this product in this person's house. Let me have this really hard sales tactic. But when you put a lot of passion in that, you care about the customer, the client, you care about their well being. That says a lot, because when my product, my service isn't appreciated by my client, I'm heartbroken. I'm like, what did I do wrong? It's a hard thing for me to walk away from. And that can translate into dollars, because I'm putting a lot of time into making sure I give you what you want. And so that's where we have to really realize this gift that we're offering, what's the value that's associated with it, and not downplay it just because we think, oh, we're not good enough. No, because I'm this, I am good enough.
Mhm.
I am good enough, and that is so true. Go ahead, Thomas. You was about to say something.
No, go ahead, Bert. Go ahead, I'll wait.
I was just saying. Oftentimes, I wanted. I think my last client said said something to me. Said you do the photographer that photographer that did the house the last two houses I did. One of the things she said, and I heard this from a client. She said you pay attention to detail a lot. She said, but you also do a lot of custom work. And when she said that, it just I was like, I do. That's why it takes me so long to do a project, because I do a lot of customary work for that particular home. And and I was thinking about all the times I go to stores and pick up things, and I see other interior designers in there. They're just in there just picking up what they don't care about anything, but they just want to get the product, grab it, and go and put it in the house. They don't think about what is it about these people that I know that will help. So that's what's unique about my product. And that helped me to understand that I have a uniqueness about my product, is that I care about the people, not, I care about the work, but these people that I'm working with and for, they deserve this. And yes, being unique and just knowing that you have a great product within yourself means everything. Otherwise, you will not charge what you're supposed to. I feel guilty. Thomas has told me many a times, I feel guilty about not charging what I deserve. I feel like, oh, what if I do too much? What if I say too much? What if they don't like what I'm charging them? And that's the biggest hurdle for me.
Hmm. And I was going to say, Bird does interior designing, you guys, and sometimes those things that we struggle with, we've learned that sometimes you need a coach to help you with your own value, because somebody that's looking from the outside in is not going to devalue you as fast as we devalue ourselves. And then because
Yes.
we don't want to let our coach down, then we say it with our chest and we step into what God has already ordained for us to be. Right. but sometimes it takes somebody else to help us understand that, and things that we don't think that's quote unquote valuable. A coach will help you identify like those morals, values, and principles, and show you why not only is it valuable to you, but there's people out there that will pay you top dollar for it. That's what we're experiencing, and which is one of the reasons why Nadira and myself, we started this call right here, because we're starting to have some synergy and understand our value to the marketplace, and then open it up to other like-minded individuals like such as yourself. So again, we're humbly thankful and we're grateful that you guys decided to just kind of join at last minute. Just something that we just kind of pulled out and said, hey, let's go, because we always was taught that done is better than perfect, and perfect never gets done.
There you go. There you go.
Listen, can I chime in real quick? One of the things, there are tiers to conversations and there's tiers to healing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a monolithic approach. And so sometimes, like when I hear Bert, like I said, and I've seen you've done great work, but I want to talk about a little bit of how we switch gears and deal with the layers of resolving issues. Because you have an emotional side to the issue, you have a practical side, you have a familiarity side, which you're used to with the social things that you're taught within that particular space. But you also got to start understanding that what purpose and having a purpose-driven life is never predicated on somebody else being better than you.
Mm-hmm.
It's always predicated on the mission that you're on, the assignment that you're on, and your willingness to do your job in that moment. Because you could argue there may have been a lot of people who are greater than a lot of the apostles in the Bible, but their purpose wasn't designated like those apostles were. And so their only responsibility was to move in what their purpose was at that time. And it's not that you go through life with blinders and that you don't see other things. I see it, but beyond that, I see my purpose. I see it, but beyond that, I see where God has placed me or the universe has placed me. And if he puts me in this house, he's placed me in this house for this season, for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that particular space, I am in the arena that he has put me in. And if you ever read the book, The Alchemist, it talks about understanding old man's understanding your legend, what your purpose is, and never deviating, even though you may see others sojourning along your path, you never deviate from it because you understand that no matter what you're doing, I understand your purpose. And that's what's meant by having a purpose-driven life.
Somebody else want to go? Because I want to piggyback off of that. I'll wait though.
That's good.
Go ahead,
I
Tom.
just wanted to say, like what Thomas was saying also, like I know Les Brown says you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. You can't. So sometimes you get to a point where you have to have a coach. You need a life coach, a finance coach, a business coach, family coach. It's okay to need help. Put the pride down and need help and reach out. And so you're able to get that help. You have to get to a point where you're around like-minded people in order to grow, so they can pour value into you. So that's definitely something I've learned along my way. I'm along my journey also.
Cool. And I want to piggyback off of what Alpine was saying. And a part of that, Alpine, just to kind of piggyback off of that, is we have to get past our past pain. Because in order to be in a position to do those things that you talked about, what happens is we unfortunately live our lives in the rearview mirror. So we can't really get into those real gifts that God has already ordained and destined for us to do and become. Right. And I was talking to Nadira earlier. And when you look at that parallel between the conversation between Jesus and Peter, when Peter said to him, he said, some call you Emmanuel, some are calling you the Savior. What did he say? He said, who do you say I am? Right? Because what they're saying about us shouldn't matter. Who do you say I am? Right? So he brought him back from there to the now. I am. Not I was. I am. And unfortunately, sometimes we live our lives in I used to. They used to say this about me. And we get stuck there. So now when you're talking about unpacking your gifts, how can you unpack your gifts when you live in a nightmare? You're trying to shake off the nightmare. But what happens is when you really understand that, Alpine, what you're saying is when we can stand there and say, what I've been through is not indicative of who I am. I was talking to somebody, I grew up without my father, right? And somebody said to me, said, man, Thomas, you don't look like that. I said, you know why? I don't wear it on my sleeve like a badge of honor. And sometimes, unfortunately, we take our past and we wear it. And we think everybody can see it, but they can't. We just don't know who you are. I am. We're getting caught in who they called us, who we used to be. And that's the difference, because ultimately it's a mind shift. And our challenge is, you guys, for the generation that's on this call, and probably a lot of the generation that's listening, we don't have an example, you guys. So what's happening is we're becoming that example that we always wanted to see and be. For those of us who didn't grow up without a father, guess what? We make two decisions. When we have children, we either ultimately end up just like our father and disappear, or we do the total opposite and never, ever, ever miss a day in our children's life. Never.
Amen.
Woo!
Yeah, that is my
That was powerful.
Let's go. Let's go. Just getting started, boy. We just getting started.
And that yes.
That's what
Wow.
I'm talking about. Impacting people with what when we govern our own lives, we impact. You know, it's crazy because when you change, you don't have to tell people I've changed. You don't have to go running around saying, giving people updates. You know, I'm not this person. I told this to somebody one time before, and they said, "Oh, they always looking at me like this. They always see me as this. I'm not that person anymore." I said, "Well, what happens is when you damage people and they see you, they're going to see pain. Every time they see you, they're going to see pain. So you can tell them I changed all day long, but what you have to do is you have to show them. You have to be patient with people and allow people the opportunity to experience you as a new changed person. We want to force people. I am not in the business of convincing you with my words about what I am or what I'm not. I am becoming. That's why my brand is becoming a woman of Proverbs, because I am all it does not yet appear what I am going to be. So I am becoming more responsible. I am becoming a better parent. Doesn't mean that I'm not, but I'm becoming. You know, I'm becoming a better parent. I am becoming a better manager of my finances. I am becoming, you know, a person that's influential in my community. I am becoming the person that is able to look at problems that were assigned to me and be able to bring resolutions without bringing attention to me. I want to bring resolution. I don't want to. What do we hear? That if your business is about you, that's totally different. I don't want my business to be about me. I want it to be about what problems I can solve. That's why when you ask me, or when people ask me, what is your XYZ, or what is your reason for doing business? And I say, I help people. I take people who have past experiences and I teach you how to turn them into life lessons, because it's what I do. It's what I've done. It's what I continue to do. Because everything that we go through, if you learn the lesson from it, you can show somebody else and prevent them. I might be able to prevent another young lady from being able to get into an abusive relationship. I might be able to help you identify narcissistic behaviors in a relationship. I may be able to be a parent and show you how to be balanced and be a parent but whatever it is that you have, whatever gifts that you have to hone in and perfect your gift. And you can't do that if you're focusing on what people think about you. Oh my gosh, the amount of time that we lose from that. focusing on what you think. You ain't even my ideal client. Why do I care what you think?
She's waking up. She's waking up. She's waking up.
It's funny enough. I would like to add.
You know that Jersey come out of me. I start to moving the hands and talking. But that's just the reality of it, is that I had to learn, because like I said in the beginning of the call before we went live, I was that girl. Rejection would knock me all the way to the bottom real quick. If I thought you didn't like me, I went into a shell. If I felt like you didn't accept me, I went into a shell. If you told me no, I saw it as you just don't like me. But I realized validation is for parking. It's for parking. So now I don't need anything external the only thing I need external is when I'm connected with the right people in right seasons of my life, because you never discredit people that are in your life during different seasons, because each person or people bring different things to you on your journey. So you have to appreciate that value that that lesson. Some people are a lesson and some people are a blessing. You have to figure out, okay, even though this is a lesson, I'm not even angry because I learned something. I get wisdom from that. So I'm not going to get to where I am in the future and look at you side-eyed. I'm just going to look at it, man, they really taught me something. They really taught me how mature I really was. They really taught me how I have low self-esteem. They really showed me that I really need to grow in this area of my life. So thank you. When I see people that hurt me, we need to start sending out thank you cards. Thank you. For what? For just being you. And that way you'd be like, well, what do you mean? For just being you? Because had you not been who you were, I would never be who I am. Because you don't know. I'm mature enough to sit up here and not spend the whole hour telling you how you hurt me and you this and this and that. No, I realized, okay, this happened. I needed to learn from that. Now I'm going to grow from that.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
The question in here is, how do you view yourself? It's not about the other people believing in what you went through or what you are. It's you believing in yourself. How do you see yourself in the mirror? When you see yourself in the mirror, who do you view? Like Thomas mentioned, we are often looking to our rear mirror, looking to our past and believing that this is who we are, and still driving, keep looking back rather than looking forward and focus on this is not me anymore. I have changed. And now I make a decision to fulfill my purpose. Once again, the purpose coming in, right? Because if it's the same like the crab story, who are pulling you back in the bucket, right? So the crab story is like the fishman is like with the crab in the bucket, and the young man was asking him, "Are you afraid? Aren't you afraid for the crab to run away?" And he was saying, if it was one crab, he would be definitely jump on for the bucket. But because there is more crab, one will be pushing another back into the bucket. So the question in here is, who is the crab in your life? Because what happens often, we are the crab in our life. We are the one pulling ourselves back into the past. We are pulling ourselves back into the old us when we should step into our power and see through the new lenses, the clear lenses, who we are becoming. Right?
The old us and even sometimes into the future. You look at, we know the word fear is false evidence appearing real. And sometimes we get so worked up as entrepreneur. I'm risk averse, so I don't really like to take risk. So I'm trying to manage in ways that I'm familiar with, things that I'm used to, things that I feel that I can handle. He's completely opposite. He can jump off of a 10-story building and not be worried about it. But when I look at things, I often come up with, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if that doesn't happen? What if ask and talk myself out of something? And that is really fear. Instead of talking ourselves out of something, I have to shift and go, okay, but what if that doesn't happen? What happens if you succeed? What happens if this actually takes off? What if someone loves the product? What if someone loves the service? But when we come up with all these scenarios, it's our fear. And sometimes our family members, well meaning, sometimes people we work with, well meaning, will introduce that fear into us as well. And so we get into the pattern of, I need to just stick to this 9 to 5, or I still need to just work for corporate America because something can happen wrong if I don't do it this way. And that's that fear.
Definitely. Yeah.
Great point.
Speaking from a health and wellness perspective, like, and people have to understand, stress kills. Stress kills. It's a silent killer. You can't go around worrying about what other people feel and what they think and things like that. You have to focus on you and where you're trying to go. One of the things I teach people how to break the cycle of generational illness, and stress does play a big role in that. And once you learn how to pull yourself away from those toxic individuals and things like that, I always say, look, listen, I don't love you any less, but I wish you the best, but I have to heal. That's a huge thing. There's no animosity, there's no love loss. And once you learn how to detach yourself from those individuals and move on with your life, let them feel how they're going to feel, because they're going to feel some way regardless. But you have to move forward so you can walk in your purpose.
And some things I want to add to what you said.
That's good stuff. I mean, that's good stuff.
I
So I got a question, Charmaine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
you. Am I on mute?
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear you guys. Okay. What happens if that person that you're trying to get away from, Charmaine, is close to you, or even your spouse, or even your mate?
You can see, and that's the thing. You can, because I talk to people. Oh, can I? Can you guys hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. It might be something on your end, Thomas. I'm not sure. Can you hear me, Thomas? Gotta give him a moment.
Thomas, can you hear?
Yeah, I can't hear.
Oh wow. We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Check at the bottom of your screen and make sure the mute is unchecked. Make sure the mute is unchecked. And if the mute is unchecked, then you might want to check your microphone and make sure your microphone sometimes.
Hold one hand up to the right and the other one to the left and put your leg out.
You can't hear that.
I love it.
Listen, if you are laughing, you have dated yourself.
I'm having so much fun with you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm telling you, this is fun. I think while we're waiting for Thomas to come back and actually continue, one thing I want to add to with fear is that sometimes fear is imparted at a young age, and sometimes you might grow up and your parents instill fear in you. They're afraid of something, so they instill it in you. So now you scared, and you don't even know why you scared of dogs. You just like, wait a minute, I never even, because my mom, when I grew up, my mom was scared of everything: birds, cats, dogs, flies. If it moved, she was scared. And so what I realized is that every time I saw a dog, I automatically revolted back to what, oh my gosh, my mom, fear, because it's what I saw. When I would see my mom go through different relationships, and when I would see her go through different relationships, and it would yield certain fruit in their relationship, then I started looking at that. Then I would get in relationships, and I automatically assume you're going to be like what you saw. So I started to automatically, by default, start to attract certain fears in my life because that is what I was used to. So now I'm very intentional. I'm very intentional with when it comes to my kids. I'm intentional with what I say. I'm intentional with what I do because I know I can invoke. I never tell them you can't do this. If it's something that they desire to do, and I know that it's going to be something that's going to require, sometimes they're teaching me some stuff. I'm like, wow, they got some faith that they can do that. But I don't never, even though I might be fearful of whether or not, I don't display it. And I'll just say to them, oh, okay, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I don't want them, if they do have any fear, I don't want it to be natural because that's what they saw at home. Mommy was scared of this and mommy was scared of that. So now my kids, sometimes their faith is just a little too high. They go and stuff, they be doing stuff. I be like, dang, like I need to up my faith. And they'll say to me, like, mommy, is with such innocence. They'll be like, Mom, you used to believe for anything. I'm like, I still do. I'm just, I don't know if I got the faith to jump off to do a bungee jump. I don't know. Life is too short. I don't know if I want, I'm like, I want to be upside down like that. I don't, it ain't that yeah, that's fear. Yeah, that is definitely fear. That is.
I think, well, speaking of that, I think we all have done a great job at not taking on what our parents put on us. Mm-hmm. And we have given our children the ability to feel like they can do all things through Christ, who strengthens them.
Amen.
And so, and to give you a great example, my son is dealing with a problem at work currently. And, I remember back in the day, even in the military and things like that, I would just handle it myself with my mouth. And I'm just going to tell you this and I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to be done with it. My son called me today. He says, well, I'm going to write a grievance. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to look on the website and look at their mission and vision statement. I'm like, wow, this is how you do that. And we're teaching our kids. We would have never done that. We would have just took it for the most part and said, that's just the way it works. Well, our kids are not taking it anymore. Our kids are very business minded. I mean, I'm going to go by what you said is the mission of the company. I'm not going to put up with the foolishness that's going on right now. And I'm going to handle it this way. And I was listening to what he was saying today. I was very encouraged by him, one, but also just proud that I didn't even know what a grievance was back then. My grievance was my mouth. It was like, I didn't like it. I'm going to tell you about it. And if you don't like it, go away. But my son
can you guys
is
hear
using
me?
big words and big sentences. And yes, we hear you. And it just, all of us are doing great jobs with our children. And my son is all into stocks and bonds and all this other stuff. And he's, saving. He gets off work at Olive Garden. Navy Federal is probably 50 feet down the street. He pulls out of one parking lot, pulls into the other, and put everything he made that night into his account. Mm-hmm. So our kids got it. We're doing it right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Charmaine, I didn't hear your answer. I apologize.
Okay, no problem. I was waiting for you to get back.
Yeah, Nadira's restarting her computer as well. So go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. What I was saying was, about kind of creating boundaries. We often hear, we have to create boundaries and things like that. I know for friends or past friends or family members or even people that you may, outgrown. I seen a quote and it said, I'd rather adjust my environment to your absence than create boundaries to accommodate your disrespect. So when you're dealing with friends and family members, you have to really think about what, like.
Could you say it again?
I'd rather adjust my environment to your absence than to create boundaries to accommodate your disrespect.
That's powerful.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one of the things I always tell people. But at the same time, like you said, if you are in a marriage, you're not going to say, oh, well, you need to get a divorce. No, that's what you have coaches for, counselors, therapy. Hey, if you need some help, go get some outside help. I can't speak on that. I'm not married, but I definitely encourage if you have to go down that path. But for friends and family members, hey, look, bye, you gotta go. Like, I'm not gonna, and I use an example where I often say, if somebody's standing in front of you, right in front of your face, cussing you out, and you take 10 steps back and you draw a line, guess what? They're still there cussing you out. They're just 10 steps away. So you're still taking it. So, you have to get to a point where maybe creating boundaries isn't the answer. Maybe sometimes you have to get to a point where you just cut that person off. Things like that. Your family member is hard, it's tough, but sometimes that's what it takes. Only simply because, like, again, if you're constantly on the phone with that person, calling out, oh, I'm gonna call my mom, but your mom is tearing you down every chance, every time you're on the phone. Why do you want to hear that? Why do you want to hear that? You don't have to. Mom, I love you, love lost, but hey, okay, talk to you later. If we can't talk about something else, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
So from that, I have a question, and the question is, do we understand our value? Because sometimes we take a lot of that you just articulated so eloquently, Charmaine. We take a lot of that, and the question is, do we understand the value that not only we bring to the marketplace, but our value that we bring to friendships, right? Because sometimes we do just what you just stated. We take more than we really should because we devalue ourselves in a friendship.
Right. That's that energy, though. That's the energy. I tell people, if you had a battery on your hand, like you can look at your phone and see your battery being drained, every time you came into contact with someone, you would do things a lot differently in life. Because you constantly be drained that energy. You can't allow people to constantly drain you because you're not going to be productive in your life. You're not going to be productive with your family. You're not going to be productive in business. You're just not going to be productive if you keep allowing that energy around you. So no need to feel bad or guilty for because you have to grow. You have to get to a space where you're growing, and that's okay. Because guess what? You're going to get to a space where you're going to be lonely, but then guess what? You're going to find your tribe. You're going to find that environment. You're going to find those people that are going to pour into you.
Yeah. And I think that the reason that people do that and allow it to happen is because they've always allowed it to happen. If you are used to your mom always complaining, you grew up with her, she's been in your ear for however many years, so you're used to listening to it, taking it. And then you start to think, well, who else will they have if not me? So who else are they going to vent to? Who else are they going to complain to? And what's going to happen to them if they don't have someone to listen to them? And so that sometimes is the reason why we continue to carry that load and then don't realize how much is really impacting us. The stress that it puts on us, the additional anxiety that we have as a result of taking on their pain.
Wow.
Yes, definitely. You have to detox from that mindset, like that you're not good enough. And I speak about that. The two most powerful ways to detox from that mindset is to listen to a different tune. That's one way. Listen to a different tune. Turn on some motivational audio, listen to, things like that. You have to, even down to the music, that's one way. And then the other way is just self-speech, the way you speak to yourself, saying positive affirmations, things like that. That it comes down to just having to know who you are, like we were talking about in the beginning, knowing who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, Charmaine, you mentioned Les Brown, and one of the things he said is he doesn't watch the news. He doesn't turn on the news, and I haven't been watching it recently, but somebody said to him, well, how do you know what's happening? How do you know what's going on in the world? And he's like, people will tell me.
Right.
Everybody will tell me that the Delta variant is on 10, or everybody will tell me that there's all kind of things going on in Atlanta. So, what are we feeding our minds? Is it positive affirmations, spiritual thoughts, or is it all this negativity, too much social media, people hyping up like what they want to be but really aren't? What is it that we're feeding our minds?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
That is 100%. You know, again, that's why we decided to have this, because Nadira and myself, we was talking about like, how do we really protect our mind, right? Like, how do we safeguard our minds? And when we get into particular situations, have we did enough exercise? You know, like I know my brother Alpine and Lisa is into fitness, right? From a physical body standpoint, right? But I think the same philosophy needs to be moved to your mind. Like, what are we doing to safeguard our minds, right? What daily routines, like Kata talked about, what daily routines are we doing? Why? Because as soon as we open the door, or as soon as we log on, guess what? Adversity is staring us right in the face. Matter of fact, it was waiting for us. Oh, I couldn't wait for you to get here, Nadira. I couldn't wait for you to get here, Lisa. Oh, I mean, I couldn't wait. It's adversity. Now, how we fortify ourselves will determine how well we deal with adversity, right? So one of the things that I do is, as soon as I get out of the bed, I immediately, boom, roll right to the floor, and I get on my knees and I pray. Then after I pray, I meditate, right? And I visualize not only what I have to do for today, but how calm my day is going to be, right? I set the atmosphere. That's before I do anything, right? Because I want to fortify myself for the unknown. I have no idea what's in store for me today. But regardless of what it is, you guys, no matter what it is, I'm going to be prepared. And when somebody say, "Hey, Thomas, how you doing?" Simply marvelous, better than good and better than most. And sometimes, like Mr. Les Brown says, I'm even better than that.
There you go.
And they like, "Oh, Thomas, it's only 7:30 in the morning." I said, "Yeah, but I've been up for 3 hours." How about you? Because you always got to be ready. You always got to be ready. Why? Because I'm fortified. Yeah, so I get hyped, you guys, man. I get hyped. I get excited, man, you know.
That's important. Start your day with gratitude is super important. Just having gratitude, being thankful. You know, you're one of those people that, you know, you wake up already, you know, you like, let's go, you know, let's do this. You know, and I know because people are like, well, what's wrong with you? It's Monday morning.
Yeah, you ain't had no coffee?
What's wrong with you? Like, it ain't nothing wrong. I'm thankful. I'm thankful.
Amen.
One of the just talk about that briefly is that you get to choose your state of mind. You get to choose your state of mind.
Yeah, amen.
Wake up and decide, this is like, I'm gonna choose this. I'm gonna choose half full and half empty. I choose. It's my choice.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to abdicate that responsibility to somebody else, or abdicate that responsibility to a situation or a circumstance or environment that I don't want to be in. I'm going to decide. And so when you get up, Thomas, you decide, this is what I'm going to do. This is my routine. This is how I set my pace for that day. And I'm going to decide to do it every day. Why? Because I need to be prepared every day.
Amen.
Regardless of what's going to happen. That's a discipline.
Amen.
We have to get to the point where we start disciplining our behaviors. And when we discipline our behaviors, we start learning how to discipline our response. And when we start disciplining our response, we'll start seeing a difference in how we are able to influence others, you know what I'm saying? And the impact others will have on us.
Amen.
And one of the things we do, you know, in addition to physical fitness and meditation and prayer, is reading. Like we love books. We love books, and we love reading the same books, maybe at the same time, sometimes at different times, and talking about what we learned in those books. And there are so many messages, you know, as you're growing as an entrepreneur, you can't just rely on just what your brain has at this moment. You have to constantly be growing. So, you know, taking in more books? Are you looking at more videos, certifications, whatever it is in your space, so that you're constantly growing and being a craftsman in your space? We don't want to become stagnant. And so that is when it comes to mindset, how we just keep refreshing it is through books and taking in knowledge regularly.
Amen.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is most valuable is the foundation, like Alfie mentioned, the discipline. is whether you want to build your house. Do you want to build your house on the top of the sand, or you want to build it on the top of the brick? You will choose. By having this strong foundation when you wake up in the morning is what gonna be leading you to the success, because some people they believe the success, when I achieve that success I will be somebody. But the thing is, you need to be that person in order to achieve that, because the success will only come to you because you are ready for it. It's not because you choose to. That's why you need to build the foundation. Be grateful for what you already have and create this space where you are stretching through the book, through the learning another course, developing yourself over and over and over, and stretching. Like we use this expression a lot in on our leadership leverage. So we need to stretch ourselves over and over, and we cross this unknown line and continue to move forward. So this is one of the things that I want to drop in here.
Yeah. And again, you guys, we really, I mean, we're humble and we're grateful that you guys kind of last minute, jumped on. It was something that Nadira and I thought about earlier. We're gonna kind of keep moving it, every Sunday, because it's really important. Just this dialogue of like-minded people, right? We all have different experiences, but we decided to lay down our agendas and pick up somebody else's agenda, right? Because everybody is pouring, everybody's giving, because we all have gifts. But sometimes we do not unpack those gifts because we feel that maybe somebody, is not going to accept us, or we feel like it's not warranted, right? But again, our Creator has given each and every one of us and everybody that's out there listening different gifts, right? But Alpine talked about the purpose driven life. When you open that book, on page 14, that book, right in the beginning, it says, it's not about you. The sooner we learn that lesson, the easier it is for us to move in the space that God has ordained for us to move in. Because we realize that everything we do, regardless of what we gain from it, it's not about us. And now we release that pressure and that tension to do it in a certain manner. Why? Because we're not trying to impress anybody, because what we're doing, we have to do, but we're doing it for the greater cause. So again, you guys, we appreciate you. I'm going to turn it back over to Miss Nadira to kind of close this out. Guys, we don't want to keep you too long, but we're humbled and we're grateful that you guys took some precious time out of your day to spend some time with us. So we thank you for that. Miss Nadira?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for it's always a pleasure being able to connect with people that have the same goal in mind, have the same heart, and that is to be able to help people. Sometimes we go through things in life, but the most important lesson that we learn as we go through things is that what we're going through, our testimony is for somebody else. It's to help somebody else pull through. There's no greater joy than being able to look back and reach back and pull somebody else up and say, you know what? You can get through this. We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. I am here today because of a testimonial that I've heard, read, listened to, that kept me moving when I was in a shelter. I needed to hear that there was a way out. I needed to hear that there's another side to this. When I was living in a shelter, I needed to know that I can have more than what I can have, everything that I desire in life, if I put in the work and the discipline and make the decision to be who I am. So I'm really grateful that you guys at such a last minute decided to join us. And you know what? I've learned so much just from you guys just tonight. I've learned so much from you guys. And so for that, I'm grateful, because not only do we give, but we receive too. So, we like kind of said, we're going to do this every Sunday. For those of you watching, I want to acknowledge our audience. We had such great engagement. Thank you guys so much. I tried to display your comments as you were going. If you guys have any questions and you want to reach out to any of the panelists, you can go. If you want to see Charmaine, you can go to www.healbynature.org/subscribe. Charmaine does have a monthly subscription where she does give tips regarding your health, so you can visit her there. You can also visit Thomas. If Thomas is hold on, let me go back in. I don't know, my computer just froze. But oh, there we go. So if you want to see Tom, if you want to get connect with Thomas, you can go to @Thomas Taylor the third, and not the I don't know if it showed up on the screen yet, but it's @Thomas Taylor the third, which is three eyes at the end of it. Or you can reach out to him on YouTube at Thomas Taylor the third. Um, Hold on, it's coming up. It's moving a little slow. It's coming up. Technology, but we got to keep moving. There we go. Yeah. Thomas Taylor Your Dreams. You can reach out to him at Thomas Taylor the third dash Taylor Your Dreams. If you want to see any videos, he is an awesome coach. I'm telling you guys. Thomas called me this morning, and I was like, he didn't know, but I had my eyes closed, and I was like, Lord have mercy. The kids was on the bed. And Thomas started talking, and I just it just like blew the smoke out of my eyes. And I was like, the energy is just let me know that I was just like, okay. So, and we talked for hours. It's just like amazing when you connect with people. You get something from each other. So I'm grateful for that. Kayla is an awesome inspirational coach. I love Kayla. You guys got to follow Kayla. Kayla'sTheBomb.com. KaylaCrabbit.com. Make sure you guys, if you need to reach out to Kayla. Kayla is awesome. You can find her on Instagram. Also, I'm telling you, I love watching her Instagrams. I like what she be doing that little thing like this. I'm gonna figure out how to do that. When they be putting the hands up with the words and stuff, I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm gonna get there one day. And I'd like to also thank Alpine and his beautiful wife for showing up. And you guys are into fitness, I hear. So if you guys want to get your body right, you make sure you go and visit them at www.bricksllc.com. And make sure you support, guys. We are providing the information to bring resources to you. And you didn't even have to pay for the information you got today. You were able to get it free. You ain't have to go to YouTube University and look it up. It's here. So make sure you guys support. And of course, you guys know, if you need one-on-one coaching in life and business, or you decide you want to be a part of the Wisdom Academy, you can also go visit my website at www.womenofproverbscoaching.com. And I also wrote a book recently. If you've been on my page, you've been seeing the responses where I talk about my journey. You can get it on Amazon. It's What Happened to Me and How Did I Get Here? So I talk about my mindset and how I had to transition through different mindsets to get to where I am now. So thank you guys so much. And I want to acknowledge all of our other guest panelists that were here, Bird, and he, and his contribution to the panel. And I also want to also thank Mr. B, even though we didn't get a chance to hear Mr. B talk. Maybe Mr. B will talk next time. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. And the replay will be available on YouTube at bit.ly/WOP, which is Woman of Prov WOP YouTube. Or you can just come back to my page. Or if any of them, either of the panelists shared on their page, you can visit on their page, or you can visit on my page. So we will see you guys next Sunday, same time. And hold on, we got comments still coming in. Oh, she says, don't miss coaching with Nadira. Yes, thank you, Chris. That's one of my clients. Yes. Antoinette says, this was great. Thank you to each of you for everything that was said and shared. Thank you so much. Thank you, Priscilla, Antoinette, Junior. Junior said, mic drop. Boom. 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 Thank you guys so much for everybody that has participated, whether you responded by comment or whether you liked the video. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And just like I said, just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too.
Amen. Great job, you guys.
That was awesome. Awesome. Thank you guys. That was good. I'm still chewing up that stuff. I'm still chewing it up.
You dropped